Level 1. You are 40 years old. You just hit $1 million, and you are about to learn something almost no one understands. Money does not stay the same thing as it grows. It changes into something else entirely. At this level, what it changes into is freedom. $1 million, invested simply, can throw off enough to live a modest life without you ever working another day. Read that again. You could stop. The paycheck that ran your entire life just became optional. You are not rich, not yet. Not in the way the movies mean it. But you crossed the most important line there is. The one between needing to work and choosing to. Feel what that does to a person. The fear is gone. Not reduced. Gone. You will never be truly poor again. If everything went wrong tomorrow, you would still be fine. And that single fact rewrites how you walk through the world, how you sleep, how you speak to your boss, how much of your life you spend afraid. This is the first, and in many ways the best thing money ever buys. And most people never taste it. Freedom from fear. Picture the two versions of the same bad news. Before, a surprise bill or a lost job was a threat that could unravel your whole life, and you felt it in your chest. Now, the same news lands, and you simply handle it. Same event, completely different person receiving it. That gap, between panic and a shrug, is what $1 million actually buys. And it is worth more than any object you will ever own. This is the first thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The first thing is that the very first million is the one that changes your actual life the most. It takes you from surviving to safe, from trapped to free, and nothing you buy later will ever feel as big as this. Because no upgrade compares to the day the fear finally switches off. Everything above this level is about something other than your survival. Because your survival, from here on, is simply handled. And let me say this plainly, because it may be the most useful sentence in the entire video. For almost everyone watching, this level, right here, is the one worth aiming your whole life at. Not the billions. This, the day work becomes optional and fear becomes a memory. It is the rung where real-life quality actually lives. And it is far more reachable than the fantasy levels above it that get all the attention. But here is what surprises people. Financial freedom is not the same thing as a rich life. You can stop working at $1 million, but you cannot exactly live like the rich yet. That takes more, and the jump to actually living well is the next level up. Watch what changes at 5 million. The verb at level 1 is free. You are free for the first time in your life. Freeing at this level means crossing the line between needing to work and choosing to, switching off a fear you have carried since childhood, and gaining the one thing that matters most and gets talked about least, the freedom to simply stop being afraid. Level 2. You are 45. You are worth $5 million, and now, finally, you can live the life you used to picture when you imagined being rich. This is the level of the genuinely comfortable. The nice house, owned outright. The car you actually want. Travel whenever you like, in the good seats. Your kids' education, handled. The freedom from money is no longer just safety, it is enjoyment. The ability to say yes to almost anything you would truly want for your own life. If financial freedom was the door, this is the beautiful room on the other side of it. And for a while, it is glorious. You say yes to the trips, the upgrades, the things you always told yourself you wanted. You spend a couple of years catching up on every desire you ever deferred. And then, quietly, you notice something odd. The wanting slows down. You start running out of things to buy that would actually change how your days feel. And the little jolt of joy from the next purchase gets smaller each time. But now something strange and important happens. And almost nobody talks about it. You start to hit a ceiling. Not on your money, on your life. You discover that a great house, great food, great travel, and total freedom is more or less the entire menu of what money can do for your daily existence. And you can afford all of it now, which means the richer you get from here, the less your actual day-to-day life will change, because you have already bought nearly everything money can add to a life. This is the second thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The second thing is that money buys life improvements only up to a point, and that point is a lot lower than people think. Somewhere right around here, more money stops making your life better. A billionaire does not sleep in a more comfortable bed than you do at 5 million, does not eat a better breakfast, does not love their kids more or laugh any harder. The lifestyle ceiling is real, and you have just hit it, which raises a strange and enormous question. If more money will not improve your life from here, then why do the rich keep going? Why chase 100 million, a billion, 10 billion, when your bed is already comfortable and your fear is already gone? That answer is the secret the entire rest of this video is about. Because past this point, money stops being about your life, and it starts being about something far bigger. Watch. The verb at level 2 is arrive. You arrive at the ceiling of what money can do for you. Arriving at this level means owning the good life completely and discovering the fact that reframes everything above it, that more money will barely touch your daily happiness from here, which means everyone climbing higher is climbing for something other than a better life. Level 3. You are 50. You are worth $25 million, and the world has started opening doors you did not even know existed. This is where money stops improving your life and starts changing your world. You are no longer a customer. You are a client. Private banks want you. You get the table that does not exist, the appointment that was full, the invitation into rooms most wealthy people never even hear about. There is an entire hidden layer of the world running quietly above the normal one. And $25 million is roughly the key that gets you through the door. Picture the difference in a single afternoon. The restaurant that was booked for months suddenly finds a table. The specialist with the year-long wait list sees you next week. The deal that was closed to outsiders is quietly offered to you first. None of it is advertised. You only find out this hidden layer exists once you are inside it. And once you are inside, you realize it was always there, running silently, just above the world you used to live in. And you feel yourself changing inside it. People treat you as important, and importance is contagious. It seeps in, and you start to move through the world with the quiet assumption that doors will open. Because now they do. This is your first taste of what money becomes at the higher levels. Not comfort, not stuff, but position, a place in a hierarchy most people cannot even see, where the size of your number decides which doors you are allowed to walk through. This is the third thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The third thing is that above the lifestyle ceiling, money converts into access, a currency that buys not things but entry into rooms, networks, and opportunities that are simply closed to everyone below. This is the beginning of money as power rather than money as comfort. It cannot make your dinner taste any better, but it can seat you at a table with people who can change your life, and those tables are where the real games get played, far above the world you came from. But access is still passive. Doors open for you. You have not yet learned to make things happen to other people. That power arrives at the next level, and it changes you more than anything so far. $100 million does not just open doors. It moves people. The verb at level 3 is access. You access a hidden world that the money below you cannot enter. Accessing at this level means money turning from comfort into a key, buying you position instead of possessions, and lifting you into a quiet upper layer of the world where your number alone decides which rooms you belong in. Level 4. You are 55. You are worth $100 million. And for the first time, your money can reach out and move other people. Watch the shift. Below this, money changed your life. Now it changes other people's lives. You can fund a business and steer its direction. You can hire the best people alive and point them at a problem. You can back a cause, a candidate, a project, and watch things happen simply because you willed them to. Your money has become a hand that reaches out into the world and rearranges the pieces. And capable, ambitious people now organize themselves around what you want. Watch how a single phone call works now. You want something built, so you call the best person in the country to build it. And because the money is real, they say yes, and they hire a team, and within a month the thing exists in the world that existed nowhere before you decided it should. You did not lift a hammer. You simply pointed your money at an idea, and the idea became real. That is a power ordinary people never once feel in their entire lives. And people can feel it. They seek you out. They pitch you, flatter you, want to be near you, because being near $100 million is itself an opportunity. You have become a source of power, and power pulls people the way heat pulls cold. It is intoxicating, and it is dangerous, because it gets harder and harder to tell who is drawn to you, and who is drawn to what you can do for them. This is the fourth thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The fourth thing is that at this level money becomes influence, the ability to move not just objects but people, to bend the choices of talented, powerful individuals toward your goals. This is a genuinely different substance from the money that bought your house. That money served you. This money commands others. And the person who holds it slowly stops thinking like someone who buys things and starts thinking like someone who moves them. But influence over people is still small compared to what waits above. Because at the next level, you stop moving individuals and start moving institutions, whole companies, whole communities. $500 million is where money turns into real power. The verb at level 4 is influence. You influence the people the world actually runs on. Influencing at this level means your money grows a hand that reaches into other lives and rearranges them, pulling talented people into your orbit, and turning you, quietly, from a person who spends money into a person who aims it at the world. Level 5. You are 60. You are worth $500 million, and you no longer just influence the world. You command pieces of it. You own things now that shape lives at scale. Companies that employ thousands. Buildings that change whole neighborhoods. Enough of a stake in enough places that your decisions ripple outward and land on people who will never know your name. When you move, things move. A choice you make in a quiet room can create jobs or erase them, build something or shut it down. And thousands of lives bend slightly around a decision you made before lunch. Sit with the weight of that for a second, because it is heavier than it sounds. Somewhere out there is a family that will move cities because you decided to open an office. A town that will thrive or fade depending on whether you keep a factory running. You will never meet these people. You may never even learn their names. But their lives now tilt, quietly, around choices you make in a room they will never see. That is what command actually feels like from the inside. Distant and enormous. And your reach extends past business now, into the machinery of power itself. Local politics listens to you. The people who write the rules take your calls, because you employ their voters and you fund their campaigns. Money at this scale does not ask permission from power. It sits down at the table with it. You have become, in your corner of the world, a force that the official powers have to account for. This is the fifth thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The fifth thing is that at this level, money becomes command, direct power over institutions and the lives inside them. You are no longer influencing decisions from the outside. You are making them from within, holding the levers that decide what gets built, who gets hired, which way a whole community tilts. This is the kind of power that used to belong only to governments and kings, and now a private person, with enough money, simply holds a piece of it. And yet, at 500 million, your power is still regional, still bounded. There is a level above where the boundaries come off, where you stop being powerful in your corner and start being powerful everywhere at once. That is the billion-dollar line, and crossing it changes the scale of everything. The verb at level 5 is command. You command institutions, and the many lives inside them. Commanding at this level means holding power that once belonged only to governments. Making decisions in quiet rooms that ripple across thousands of strangers, and sitting down as an equal with the official powers that everyone else must simply obey. Level 6. You are 64. You crossed $1 billion, and you have gone from powerful in your corner of the world to powerful across the entire board. $1 billion is not just more money than 100 million. It is a different kind of power. You can move markets, fund things at the scale of entire industries, shape what gets invented, what gets built, what the future is even allowed to look like in your field. Politicians at the national level now court you, because $1 billion can swing an election, launch a movement, or reshape a public debate. You are no longer accounting to power. You have become one of the powers. Here is the strangest part of crossing this line. Nothing about your day looks any different. You wake up in the same body, in a house not much nicer than the one you had at 50 million. But invisibly, the reach of your decisions has exploded. The same single hour of your attention, pointed at the right thing, can now shift an entire industry. And you start to understand that this game stopped being about money a long way back. And the whole world changes how it treats you. Nations compete for your attention. Your opinion, on almost anything, is suddenly treated as wisdom, whether it deserves to be or not. You have become a kind of institution wearing a human face. And the strangest part is how normal it feels from the inside, because you did not change, only the size of the lever in your hand did. And now that lever is long enough to move things you once could only read about. This is the sixth thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth. The sixth thing is that $1 billion stops being wealth and becomes leverage over entire systems, markets, industries, and the political stage of a whole country. This is the level where money starts touching the direction of society itself. And notice how far you have traveled from that very first million, the one that bought you the freedom to sleep without fear. That money set you free. This money lets you move the world that other people live inside. But there is one level higher, and it is the one the whole title was pointing at. Because $1 billion gives you power over a country, 10 billion gives you power over the world itself. This is the top, and it is stranger than you think. The verb at level 6 is move. You move markets, industries, and the politics of a whole nation. Moving at this level means your money grows a lever long enough to shift the systems that shape millions of lives, turning you from a rich person into one of the actual powers, courted by the same governments that command everyone below you. Level 7. You are 68. You are worth $10 billion, and you have reached the level the entire ladder was climbing toward. World power. At this level, you do not operate inside the world. You operate on it. You can fund the technologies that change how billions of people live. Move money across the planet fast enough to shake economies. Sway not one nation's politics, but many. Your decisions, made in private, ripple outward across borders and generations, touching the lives of people who will not even be born until after you are gone. You hold more power than most actual countries, and you answer to almost no one. And let that sink in, because it should unsettle you a little. No one elected you. No one can vote you out. Yet the decisions you make in a private room can change the lives of more people than most presidents ever touch. This is power without a leash. And at the very top of the ladder, a small handful of private individuals quietly hold it. And here, finally, you can see the whole thing clearly, the truth the entire climb was teaching you. Money is not one thing that simply gets bigger. It transforms, level by level, into something completely different. At the bottom, it was freedom, and it was about you. At the top, it is power, and it is about the world. Somewhere in the middle, quietly, it crossed over and stopped being something you spend on your own life and became something you wield over everyone else's. This is the seventh thing nobody tells you about the levels of wealth, and it is the one that explains everything. The seventh thing is why the ultra-rich never stop, even when they hold 1,000 times more than any life could ever use. They do not keep going for the lifestyle, because the lifestyle stopped improving back at 5 million. They keep going because at the top, money is power, and power has no ceiling. A better house has a limit. Influence over the world does not. You cannot buy a more comfortable bed than a simple millionaire, but you can always buy a bigger dent in the world. And for a certain kind of person, that dent is the only scoreboard that has ever mattered. And that is why a millionaire and a billionaire are not the same word with a bigger number. They are two different species. One has freedom, the other has power. And the distance between them is greater than the distance between you, right now, wherever you happen to be standing, and your very first million. The verb at level 7 is shape. You shape the world itself, from above the nations inside it. Shaping at this level means holding more power than most countries, wielding money that has stopped being wealth and become force, and finally understanding that the rich never stop climbing, because lifestyle has a ceiling and power does not. And power was always the real prize. So let's pull this together, because this ladder is really two ladders, stacked on top of each other. At 1 million, you are free. The fear switches off. At 5 million, you arrive at the ceiling of what money can add to your actual life. At 25 million, you access a hidden world of doors ordinary money cannot open. At 100 million, you influence the people the world runs on. At 500 million, you command institutions and the lives inside them. At 1 billion, you move markets, industries, and the politics of a nation. At 10 billion, you shape the world itself from above it. Here is the thing nobody on YouTube will tell you about the levels of wealth. Money is not one substance. It is two. Below the lifestyle ceiling, money is about your life, and it buys freedom, comfort, and peace. And this is the money that actually makes people happy. Above the ceiling, money is about the world, and it buys access, influence, command, and power. And this money does almost nothing for your happiness at all. The line between them sits somewhere around $5 or $10 million, and it is the most important and least understood line in all of wealth. Below it, money buys a better life. Above it, money buys a bigger reach. Those are not the same purchase, and they are not even for the same person. And this matters enormously for you, because of where the happiness actually lives. It lives at the bottom of this ladder, not the top. The freedom of the first million and the comfort of the fifth are where life gets genuinely, measurably better. Everything above that is the power game, and the power game does not make you happier, it makes you heavier. The people at the top are not more content than the people who simply reached freedom and stopped. Often they are far less, because power comes wrapped in isolation, in distortion, in a world where no one can reach them honestly anymore. So here's what to actually do with all of this. Aim, with everything you have, for the bottom two levels. Get free. Get comfortable. Reach the place where the fear is gone and the good life is yours, because that place is real, and it is worth every ounce of effort. And it is achievable for far more people than believe it. That is the part of this ladder that was built for your happiness. And then, at the ceiling, stop and ask yourself one honest question. Do you actually want power, or did you just want to be free? Because if it was freedom you wanted, you already have it. And the climb above is a different game with a different price, one that slowly costs you the very peace you worked so hard to buy. Some people genuinely want to move the world, and that is a real calling, and the world needs a few of them. But most people who think they want $10 billion actually just wanted to stop being afraid. And that, you can have, for the price of the very first rung. Somewhere right now, a 40-year-old just crossed their first $1 million and felt, for the first time in their life, the fear switch off and thought, this is it. This is what being rich feels like. They do not yet know that they are standing on the very first rung of a ladder that climbs into places they cannot yet imagine. That the same money which just set them free will, higher up, transform into something else entirely, into access, into influence, into command, into the power to move markets and shape the world. They do not know that the ladder splits in two, that the bottom is built for happiness and the top is built for power, and that the wise thing, the rare thing, is to know exactly which one you are actually climbing for. The ladder has 7 levels. Free, arrive, access, influence, command, move, shape. And hidden inside it is the one lesson worth more than all $10 billion at the top. The first million changes your life more than the last billion ever will, because freedom is the part that makes you happy, and power is the part that makes you heavy. And almost everyone spends their whole life chasing the second, when all they ever really needed was the first. If this video changed how you think about wealth and power, hit subscribe. We have more videos like this on the channel, each one pulling apart a piece of what money really does to a life. Underneath the story we are usually sold.